Well, howdy, everyone. Welcome. I'm Doug Cothe, founder of the Organizational Health Collective and principal consultant with People Smart Group. We're with my friend Terry, who's out on the road today, so he's making do the best he can for his getting on the show with us. So we're thrilled to have him. So Terry, take it away.
I'm Dr. Terry Wade, your principal consultant with Generator Coaching, and at 18 points of light, making it very fun to do this sort of thing on the road. So what are we talking about today, Doug?
Well, today's topic is consultants. And what's wrong with those people? They just swoop in and they tell us what to do using their information. And what do they know? They don't know anything about this, right? Who are they?
Yeah,
Why should we
absolutely.
trust them? What good are they? We don't need consultants, right?
Absolutely.
Those people are annoying.
The consultants are annoying. I need a lighting consultant today. It's an interesting topic. And one of my last clients I'm still working with, actually, it was an auto shop. And the first thing that one of the owners said is, he doesn't know anything about cars. He's a consultant. He doesn't know anything about cars.
Oh, gosh.
Funny enough,
yeah,
I am, or was back years ago, an ASE certified front end brake technician, which, I mean, anybody that works on cars gets that quickly. It's not like the best in the world, but I do know a thing or two about cars. But he didn't know that about me, and I didn't necessarily mention it. But I think that oftentimes the owners of these businesses think that, well, because I'm in this business, the consultant should know something about that. So talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, for sure. And so that's interesting, because do you have to know what every company you work for, do you have to know every detail of what they do and how they do it? And I had a workshop I was doing with a law firm, and we were working through actually using one of the examples of one of the projects they were working on to apply one of the 6 working genius that we use regularly. And I was talking through with the leader, and I said, okay, so, give me an example. And so we came up with this project. And so she's starting to get me into the nitty gritty details of what they're doing in the project. And I said, whoa. I don't need to know every last detail of it. I said, you guys bring the expertise in that. I bring the expertise in the 6 working geniuses, and I'm helping you apply it to what you do. And so I think there's a misconception that we have to know everything that they do. Now, on the flip side, it's helpful to have ability to converse with them over, hey, what are you doing and why are you doing it? You should know some general ideas and some general principles, and it's good to do your homework and get up to speed as best you can. But honestly, you don't have to be an expert in their field. That's their job. Your job is to be an expert in what you do.
Right. And one of the things that I've found is when we're looking at helping a business in management consulting, whether it is processes based or people based like we are, or finance based, we want to have the skills to help them do their skill that they have at that highest level. And the unfortunate thing, I think sometimes people who have a skill, say it's an accountant or something like that, and they become a consultant, they start seeing things through that focal viewpoint, and then everything becomes about how you're doing your numbers, and it might not be that. One of my clients is actually a process consultant, and they started realizing, working with us, that, hey, a lot of times their process is their people problem. It's not their process. And even if I do go in and I help them with their processes, their people aren't going to be able to use it because they're not communicating right. And we need to actually get somebody in to communicate. And so I try to partner with many different people like that. I want a process consultant working with us. I want a marketing consultant working with us. I want those different people on my team. I want a finance person that I can help find money.
Yep.
So a money broker on my team, because we help with those different things. But like you said, a lawyer, I don't know the first thing about litigation.
Right. Right. And that,
It would be bad for me to
I,
go and litigate.
I think you bring up a really great point there, because you're talking about working with other consultants and having people in their field of expertise, right? I need to be a subject matter expert in what I'm an expert in. And when people are asking for something outside of that, I have to have the integrity to say, that's not my gig. That's not my area. But I do know someone, or I don't know someone. And it's always helpful as a consultant to actually know really good people in different areas, so that you can lead them to someone who's actually worthwhile to work with. So they're working with other people with integrity that say, hey, I can do this, but I can't do that. And
Yeah,
that's, I think, where a lot of the bad name of consultants comes in, just like bad names for doctors or lawyers or whoever. People who show up and claim they can do all sorts of stuff they can't do, and they're, more like a used car salesman than they are like a good consultant. And yes, to that last question, there are good consultants.
absolutely. There's plenty of good consultants out there, and whether you're looking for somebody that does strategy, or you're looking for somebody that solves people problems, and people problems um, could be like me, or Doug, that work with organizational health, or me specifically, that is an organizational psychologist and clinical psychologist, and I understand the underpinnings of how humans get in the way of themselves, and I'm very good at solving those issues. Uh, I also do strategy, and so what are our little bailiwick kind of areas that we're really good at, but I don't do process, and I find that tedious. And
Yeah.
so I can help them understand that their process is broken and put them in touch with my process person, or sometimes we'll even work together and do sort of a package deal where you get your process worked out, and we help you to understand why it wasn't working, and how to actually communicate better around that process. Um, and like I
Yeah.
said, marketing, everybody needs marketing, and marketers are very, very good at marketing themselves, but not really very good at marketing other people. Um, but
If you can't tell, Terry has a axe to grind in that zone.
no, there's no ads. I mean, hey,
He's
I,
tired of marketers marketing to him, but not doing
I'm
a good job marketing his company.
hey, I'm very impressed with marketers being able to market themselves. And they're very good at it. I
They
think
are.
that the back to the real idea is, what good are consultants? They're
Yeah.
they're an outside point of view that hasn't drank the Kool-Aid of how we want to be, and they haven't, you know, uh, got stuck in the hope circle, hoping that this next thing that they're going to do is going to work. And honestly, I think we come in going and poking what doesn't work. And I know that I have plenty of times where I go in and I start poking and people don't like it.
Yep.
But, well, I don't think that people really like the doctor that's pointing out they got cancer either. Right. And
Sure
so
want to get to work fighting it, don't they?
we want to have a solution for that problem. And we go in there, and I just happen to have doctor in front of my name as well, so I can have that. But we want to go assess and diagnose what's going on in the dysfunction, so that we can actually help them to be working optimally. And
Mm.
a lot of people get scared of that, and so, well, I don't want to hear that I have to change what I've been doing. Well, you don't have to change what you're doing. You can keep doing it, but that's not really going to get you a different result either.
Right. You're going to keep getting what you always
So
been getting.
yeah, and I mean, I've met a lot of people who've decided to become, and I don't know if consultants have the same degree of watered downness that the coaching field has gotten.
Yeah.
But in 2020, I noticed that everybody became a coach, and that is, I think that there's also a little bit of I don't want to work anymore, so I'm going to become a coach going on in the world. And so
Mm.
people, you can either say, I didn't want to actually do a job anymore, or I want to become a coach, and it meant the same thing. Um, and and
Mm.
and so they start telling other people what to do, but they haven't had any kind of training around how to
Yeah.
actually work with teams or how to work with individuals and how to actually help them leave procrastination or work through hesitation and understand what was going on internally for the person that they had those problems. And a lot of people move into you know behavioral transformation, and I have feelings on that one too because I've watched a lot of different behavior treatment programs that really are coercion programs.
Yeah.
And so, how do you do this stuff? And how do you pick a good consultant is a very good question.
Yep.
And
It
honestly, I
is.
think it comes down to interviewing and starting to understand what their process is. And,
Yeah.
is it, in the world of coaches, Maxwellites or Tony Robbins coaches or whatever, they've taken a course or they've taken a number of courses and they learn the material, but they didn't actually learn how to assess and diagnose.
Yep. Very
And
true.
so
Yep.
understanding how the person goes about assessing and diagnosing is really one of the biggest pieces. And then what's going to happen as a result of that and what are the steps? And I
Yeah.
think that that's where we start to really look at, okay, is this person really going to be able to help me?
Yeah. That's good. That's good. And I think a lot of people's experiences are also the big consulting companies, right? And what do they normally do? They show up with their process. They've got a process figured out, right? And they say, this is what you need to do.
Yeah. And I
And
mean,
instead of actually taking the time, like you're talking about, to listen, to hear out what's going on, to dig deeper, to say, is that really your problem or is there a problem below that? To see the system that's going on within the company and try to figure out, hey, what really needs assessed here? What really needs helped? What are we really going to go toward for the first step of helping you work
yeah.
on company? If you don't do that, if you don't take that time, if you just show up with your system to plant on a company and say, this is what you need to do, and you show up as the know-it-all, you're going to get terrible results, or you're going to
Yeah.
get
Well,
mediocre results.
or you might get phenomenal results while they're there.
Right.
This other company came into a company I was working with, and it was not discussed. Hey, should I get this other company, or
Yeah.
how do we address these issues? The guy was taking his own bad advice and brought another company in without actually using the trusted advisor to discuss what the next steps are. And people panic, and that's understandable.
Yeah.
And I got to fix this problem. Well, yeah, you know let's take it one step at a time and work through the problems and kind of think about and organize what's most important right now, and then what are the steps we're going to take in that,
Yep.
and go at it from a very intentional place. And then okay, let's identify the emotions that are getting triggered instead of take more action.
Right.
Because I think action taking is the most important thing.
Yep.
But sometimes the action needed to take is stop
Yeah. Slow down.
and slow down, because you can go faster when you slow down and become intentional instead of just
Yep.
throw a bunch of stuff at the wall and hope it fits.
Right.
Um,
Well, and I
or
think
throw a
as
bunch
a
of blanket stuff
psychologist,
and maybe you get the lighting right. Um,
right? But as a psychologist, you would note, right? When I'm in survival mode, I don't think straight.
Absolutely.
So I got to
And
get out of survival mode to make right decisions.
yeah, and it goes back to what we were talking about last week. I think it was last week when we were talking about, well, it's my decision because I own the company, or I'm the one that's most affected by it. So I have the right to be able to make this decision. But you don't know how many people you're affecting when you do that.
Yep.
And you don't know what the effects of those people are. And
Yeah.
so, all of those people that are affected, they might be totally okay, and most likely they'll forgive it, but at
Right.
the same time they're also going to start to get weary if you keep doing it. And
Yep.
if it's a pattern where you swoop in and make the decision to do that, then you're going to have a little bit of an issue when you want people to get on board with your next idea.
Yep. Very
And
true.
then looking at that is you bring the consultants in, and consultants are I think that they're necessary for every business. I really do.
Yeah.
but you want to vet them a little bit, and you also want to see what they can do, and um, really kind of understand how. And this is for me particularly. This is what I think about is how am I feeling empowered, and how am I feeling uh, moved into an intentional place where I don't have the anxiety driving my decisions, but I have intention driving my decisions. And
That's
if the
good.
consultants are able to help people do that, I think that they're on the right track.
That's good. That's good.
Um,
Yeah. How about one thought I have on that as well is there's like you made the comment, somebody just attended a class and all of a sudden they show up and they're a consultant, right? And I think those type of people tend to be the type that they have a tool, a hammer, and they show up and everything's a nail. And so if someone shows up and they've got the latest, greatest, shiny, this is the program, and that's all they have, then you probably should hold off. But
yeah,
on the other end of the spectrum, you've got folks that they show up and um, they're maybe been doing it for the longest time in the world, but they still, I mean, it's, well, I've got this proven track record, true proven program, but they don't listen. And so you
yeah,
kind of have both ends of that. So great, you got great experience, but if you're not a good diagnostician, if you're not a good listener, if you don't enter in with me and you're not listening to hear what the issues are, and so I think both of those end up very programmatic and end up very focused on what is the thing I bring to the table and you must use it, as opposed to coming in and saying, hey, I know my stuff well enough that I show up with principles
yes,
and I show up to listen to you to hear what do you need and how do we apply those principles to you and to your situation and what you need, rather than me showing up as the know-it-all, fix-it-all. I have the white coat and I am God in a white coat, and therefore I'm here to tell you how to act, instead of the doctor, instead of I show up and I'm actually here to listen to you and I'm here to say, hey, here's some key principles and here's how I see how they apply. What do you think of this? And here's
yeah.
what I think we can do about that.
I
And
think
it's a,
that
and it's a collaboration with the leader, not a, hey, I'm dictating to you and you must do. And then the
yeah,
same problem we see on the back end of our engagements, right? We do the work, we do those principles, and people are going well. The company starts doing well. And what happens? The next shiny program comes along and they want to do the program. And it's like, no, the
yeah.
program didn't get you there. The principles, live by the principles.
Yes,
Keep
that
discipline, keep doing
that
it.
is so powerful. Really focusing on learning the principles and being able to apply them. And one of the first principles is get that outside perspective.
Mhm.
For me,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
the thing I was thinking about, like McKinsey and Boston Group and those those groups that come in, they it's like a swarm of locusts come in, and it's almost like we have a business, and all of a sudden these people come in and they're talking the right talk. We're going to assess, and we're going to, I actually sat with one the other day. It was like, well, first we assess and then we diagnose, and I'm like, oh, okay, so that's pretty much what everybody does,
Mhm.
because if you're not, then that's a problem.
Yeah.
But he was saying it like it's a novel thing, and it's like, okay, so that's, you know, I've been doing that ever since I learned what doctors do. And we
Yeah.
assess the person, we assess the position, we assess the situation, assess the business, assess the problem, and then we go to diagnosis and go, okay, I think this is that and this is that. But they come in, like you said, and it's not just one person, but in those bigger companies, they bring a lot of people in. They create an overwhelming
Mm.
uh, safety net for the business, and they take care of all kinds of problems, and they stabilize the business. But as
Mm.
they're doing that, I don't think that they're really intentional in helping the business really understand how to be more uh, in the conflict, committed, and accountable to that. And so
Mm.
they bring all of this stuff in and go, now you just run it. And then they go, okay, our agreement
Mm.
is for 5 weeks or 6 weeks or something like that. And then we can stay with you for a long time, but that's going to be a lot of money. But it's a 5 week kind of thing. And then we're going to charge you, but what we charge you, we're going to promise you, we're going to help you make double or triple or whatever your money
Right.
from the engagement. So it's going to be good because we will stay with you until you make that. Well, that's kind of like, I don't know if you've ever seen the Fisher Investments ads on TV, but they're like, you can trust us because we're a fiduciary. Every investment firm that has a Series 7
Yeah.
is a fiduciary.
Right. Right.
And so it's like
Thanks for
everybody
defining the water.
ethics and morals is going to help until you have the result you're looking for, or
Right.
maybe they're not the right people.
Yeah.
But it's like they're using this as a pro, a selling point. It's like,
Right.
okay, so you're going to actually work with them until they get the result. Well, what would it be if you actually took their money, worked with them, and didn't get the result? That would be taking money.
Right.
I mean, so
Isn't that what every company's out to do? Is work to you till you get your results.
Oh, okay. So you're okay. Great. But
Well, let me reflect to you on the example you just used of the big guys coming in. They bring in this big team. They jump in and they start solving all sorts of problems. What I hear, and tell me if this sounds right to you, is I hear them. They come in to save you by fixing the problem, not actually equip you to fix the problem yourself.
yeah, and
And the
that's what I've seen.
differentiation is: am I a consultant, or am I a part of your company? Am I the outsider helping you get better, or am I here just to become a permanent add-on? Am I a leech added to your company, or am I, or am I here to basically assist you and you do better?
Or am I savior?
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
another one. It's like, come in, save everything, put it back together, get you straight, and leave.
Right.
And then you're like, well, the numbers look better. Okay, I guess we're good.
Right.
But you have no idea how you got in that problem.
Right.
And
So if
you
I get
don't
there
know
again,
what's
I need
going
you
on
again
with
to
you
save
to
me.
actually solve the problem later.
Right.
And
Yep.
so, and that's a lot of times that's what I see happen when people are like, we need new processes.
Yeah.
Okay, great. What processes and where in the process is it not working?
Yep.
And who is communicating about that? What have you already done about it? What have you not done about it? What would make a good process, and what would make a bad process? If
Yeah.
you have those answers, okay, great. Now have somebody come in and fix it, and then you can maybe run it right. But if you don't know why your process failed,
Yep.
and somebody comes in and fixes your process,
Yeah.
once they leave, what's going to happen?
Right. You have no ability.
I'm pretty
to
sure
tweak.
that the process is going to fail again.
Yep.
And so
Yep.
and I see it over and over and over again is,
Yep.
I was with another company, very interesting. And they had, in the last 2 months, 35 employees quit or be fired, let go or something.
Yep.
In 2 months. What's going on?
Yeah.
And then, well, they just, it's fast food. So that makes total sense.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, if that's true, and it can be,
Yeah.
why is it that there's some places that have somewhere around, 0% turnover? When Christine was working at Starbucks, she had several quarters with 0% turnover. And
Yep.
Starbucks is fast food. I mean,
Yep.
believe it or not, it's quick serve.
Yep.
And then there was other times that she had some turnover, but I don't think she ever hit over 10% turnover.
Yeah.
In 19 years.
Wow. Yep.
10, maybe 15. There's times that things happen, but it was always due to people growing and changing, and not necessarily due to poor management. But when you have 35 people hired and fired in 2 months,
yeah, there's a problem here, and you need to figure out what the problem is.
So if I go in there and I go, okay, we'll help you hire, great, but we don't know why they left.
Right.
If we,
So when we leave and that next group leaves,
onboard,
now what?
right? And so all these different things. And so as a consultant, for me, when I walk into a business like that, I want to understand how many people were actually hired that 35 quit.
Yep.
Because even if it's 100, that's 35%.
Yep.
But if it's 50, that's
Yep.
70%.
Yeah.
And so how many people, what's the percentage of your attrition here? What's going on with that? And what's the hiring process?
Yeah.
What are you doing to help these people feel part of the team? What's the onboarding process? All of these different processes all together. And then we can start looking at, okay, what's going on? But, and these people they weren't looking for a consultant. They just didn't even pay attention to that number, really, I don't think. Wow. It's a bigger problem than they realize, but they think, well, if we just hire more, we're going to solve that problem. We'll finally find the right people. These are the kind of situations that different businesses have, and it's not because they're bad at business. It's because they don't realize they're so busy with the bottom line, or they're busy with the different things that the business has going on, that I can't pay attention to everything.
Right.
And that's the thing they tell themselves. And so they're going to let something slide, something fall through the cracks. And as a result, they pull their head up out of the busyness of work and go, I think I have a problem here.
Yep. Yeah. Yep.
And that's where, consultants are really helpful.
Yep. Very much so.
If they're looking at it from okay, let's assess and diagnose what's really going on, and then not bring in my blanket, this is how we deal with these problems, but what are you doing and how can we actually help that improve?
Mm-hmm.
And how can we improve the communication around it so that we really get a clear, understandable, teachable process, not just with the thing like hiring or onboarding, but with the people, so that they are connected to the process that is being put in.
Yep. Yeah. Man. Yep. And there's so much you said there that's just so helpful. And I think at the root, the beginning point is identifying the issue, right? Because it's so easy from that hiring example you used. You just made the point that they're going, well, if we hire enough people, we'll eventually get the right people. And it's like, no, wait, you forgot to realize that the part of the problem of people leaving is you. And until you deal with you, you're not going to keep if you hire the right people, they might not stay.
Yeah.
And so how are you going to get those people to stay? You've got to actually understand the issues of why people are not staying. You've got to understand the issues. If it's a hiring problem and you're hiring the wrong people, why in the world are you doing that? Why are you not hiring the right people? And two, if you are hiring the right people, then why are they leaving? And if they are the right people, then how are you creating the right environment that they would want to be in? And so there's all these questions that have to be asked that often don't get asked because we don't really want that level of introspection, because that could hurt. And so there's the principle that I love that Patrick Lencioni, who we both enjoy listening to and reading, makes the point that as a consultant, one of my key principles is I've got to tell you the kind, hard truth. And I've got to push in, and I've got to go in there, and I've got to tell you it, and I got to push on that even when it hurts. And that there are so many consultants that want to avoid that button. They don't want to go there. They don't want to tell you the truth. They might lose the business. You might run away. You might not. You might fire me, and then I don't get money. And now I'm here for money. No, wait, no, I'm not. I'm here to help you. And there's another principle of why would I hire a consultant? Are they here for my sake or theirs?
Yes.
Are they here to advance my business and come along as a trusted ally, building my business and a trusted advisor? Or are they here because they need some more money or they need another client?
That is such an important point. Is my job being a consultant, or am I a consultant because I want to help people be successful?
Yep.
And you know that now the reality is people could have the job of consultant and they could be hired by one of these big firms and they could really have their own personal vision and mission of helping people have successful businesses. But for a lot of people, I became a consultant and that's my job, and I just do my job for the number of hours a day that I do, and
Right.
then I go home and I don't have to worry about it, you know. And for me, the idea that is really important as a consultant, I walk in there and I want to develop a partnership with the owner or with the C-suite executive I'm working with, and I take it on the same way that they have it on their shoulders,
Yep.
and I want to partner with them, and I want to experience their stress and their difficulty,
Yep.
you know, whatever's keeping them up at night. And I want, from an empathic point of view, to be like, okay, what would it be like for me in that?
Yep.
And then what are the stressors? And I'd be asking them, what are the stressors that you're going through so I could experience it like they experience it? And then, okay, how do we want to fix this? Do you want to just quit? Maybe that'd be
Yep.
the best idea.
Right.
And some people do. And people, I did not sign up for this. No, I want to actually make this thing work the way it's supposed to. Okay, so let's look at what's not working
Yep.
and really get clear on what's not working and get clear on where we wanted it to be
Yeah.
and then how we want to get there.
Yep.
And really using our 6 questions of clarity that both of us use to
Yes.
really get a clarification of what this is really about, what we're really moving towards, to create a roadmap for them to actually get the business that they desire, to get the people that they desire, to
Yep.
have the results that they desire. And that takes stepping back and really getting honest about the business and where we're at and what's not working. And as we, Patrick Lencioni talks about being naked consultants, they have to be naked consultees too.
Yep.
They
Yep.
have to be vulnerable and open up and talk about what's not working instead of just
Yep.
talk about
Yep.
what didn't work, what's still not working.
Yeah. Which is another great indicator, I guess, coming back to the consultant you want will not work with you if you're unwilling to go there. They will say, look, we can't be successful if you're not willing to dig down into stuff. I can't want this more than you want this. I'm going to want to fight for the sake of you, for your company. But if you're not there, this is not a good engagement. And I got to step out.
Right.
And if you don't have a consultant that's willing to step aside out of integrity because, hey, you know what, until you're ready as a leader, if you're just hiring me for the quick fix, I don't want the job. If you're hiring me so that we can walk together into your company and figure out how are we going to make this thing a ton better and what are the issues and how are we going to tackle that, then I want to be here. But if you're not there,
Absolutely.
I'm not here as a consultant. I can't help you. And if you don't have a consultant that can say that with you, then you really don't want to hire that person.
Right. And there's a lot of people that just want the quick fix.
Yep.
Hey, I just want somebody to come in here and fix my systems. Okay,
Yep.
Great. But what's going to happen when they leave?
Yeah. Yep.
And I've had plenty of clients who in the beginning were, I just want my system fixed.
Yep.
Until we really got into, okay, why aren't you looking at you? Why
Yeah.
are you so focused externally?
Yep.
Why are you so focused on if I just fix this, that, and the other thing? And a lot of it's because they're so overwhelmed with what's not working that they're afraid that they're going to have something happen to themselves if they start looking at themselves. And I see that in the personal development, you know, in I worked with a lot of alcoholics and drug addicts, and they don't want to look at themselves.
Yep.
Why? Not because they don't think there's a problem, but they're afraid they can't fix it.
Yep.
And so going from a place of, hey, look, I'm stepping in here to help you become exactly what you were looking for. And there is going to be some pain involved. Sorry. You know, resetting a broken leg does not take pain away. Sometimes it's painful in the beginning, but we'll get through this together.
Yeah.
And it's going to be much better, but we got to walk through the painful stuff and we got to look through and do a little bit of an inventory around what's not working. We
Yep.
got to do a little inventory about what you really wanted. And, you're going to have to mourn the loss of your imagined successful business for a minute,
Yep.
mourn that loss, realize that it's not working the way you wanted it to. Even if it's a successful business, but it's not where you want to be, okay, mourn the loss of where you wanted to be for what it is right now and go, okay, I got this thing. It's only 2 million and I wanted 8. Okay, great. Well,
Yep.
mourn the loss of that 8 and let's get to work on this 2 to
Yeah.
help it build. And people live in this idea. I was thinking about it this morning. I was listening to a preacher of all things that was talking about hope, and hope is a good thing. And I don't disagree that hope is a good thing, but
Yep.
where I think about it a lot is it hopeful coming from that scarcity place of hopefully tomorrow it's going to work out, or hopefully after I try this cockamamie idea it's going to work out, or is it hope filled because I know that this is going to work now?
Yes.
And so hopeful versus hope filled. And I get filled with hope when somebody like you, Doug, come in and go, I have some solutions. And honestly, the solution is to dig in and assess and diagnose. I don't have the solution if this is going to work or not, because we got to find out what the problem is first.
Yep. Yep.
And when we come in that I think I have the solution to your problem before I know what the problem is, for me, that's hopeful.
Yeah.
Hopefully this guy's going to fix everything.
Yep.
Hope filled is I don't know what the problem is, but I've worked with a lot of businesses and we had really good results. And
Yep.
I want to fill you with the hope that we can help you too.
Yep.
And revitalize you.
Yep.
In the idea that when we take these steps, we actually move forward.
Yep.
But the first step is to really diagnose what's going on.
Yep. Well, and with that,
yes,
instead of having a one size fits all program, I have the principles that all healthy businesses can run on,
yes,
and we're going to fit them to your business.
yes. And so and I love the way you put that earlier and restated it right now is it's the principles of how the things change, not this formulaic boxed
Yep.
answer.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
and too many people have that boxed answer, and they may even dress it up in, okay, assess, diagnose. Okay, so how am I different from every other business? Oh, you're not. Oh, okay, well that's a boxed
Yeah.
answer.
Right.
Well, I've worked with 15 different construction companies, and I know exactly how to help them grow. Okay, great. Have you ever done anything different, or have you just created a franchise? And
Yep.
that's good too, but
Yep.
understand what you're getting
Yeah.
and understanding
Absolutely. Absolutely.
what's happening.
But the skilled consultant is the person that can actually take your context and apply the principles, as opposed to take your
Yeah.
context and conform it to their system and change your entire context.
Yes, yes, and I've seen it. In fact, I had a coach, and this is a few years back, and I hired her because I really liked the way she did things. And I said, I'm a business consultant. I want to work with businesses, and she's like, you'd be a really good coach.
Mm.
And so she helped me put a coaching program together, and I absolutely crushed it. I made I made a lot of money very quickly, coaching people on how to build their business and do startup businesses. But I didn't want to do that.
Yeah.
But I got a sale or two, and I got the bug for sales, and I got this ooh, I can actually help startups. And just I was working with 40 businesses at one time.
Wow.
And I was every business I was working with had some level of success, but my problem was that I didn't want to do that. I wanted to work intimately as a trusted advisor with some bigger businesses, removing their team problems.
Yep.
Organizational health stuff.
Yep.
I want to help them get clarity and help them gain direction and help them get through the conflict and be able to commit and be accountable and get the results they're looking for. But she changed my mind model. And it happened in a time that, it happened during COVID where, there wasn't a whole lot of businesses hiring consultants. And so I was like, okay, I'll concede what I'm doing and I'll try this out. But that's the kind of thing I think you're talking about, is this idea of let's change our model of business to fit the consultant's way of
Yep.
consulting.
Yep. Absolutely.
And if we're changing our way of business, maybe it's because our way of business isn't necessarily good. But if
Right.
we have to do it in order for the consultant to have success, then maybe the consultant isn't really as skilled as you want him to be.
Yep.
Because for me, I go in, and I believe that you do the same way, but I go in and I do not change their systems or their processes. We help them refine them so they work the way they want them to. But we don't actually go in and go, you know what, do it this way because this is the way I think it works better.
Right. Absolutely.
And
Yeah.
so it's
Yep.
really about, when it's all said and done, it's really about being able to take our principles and apply them to your systems and your processes and your people,
Hmm.
and then help you refine your systems to make them work the way you want them to, but not go in and go, oh, well, if you just take over my system,
Yep.
then you'll have a business that works.
Yep. Yeah, I've had that similar experience, and this is maybe a good learning example for people who are thinking through how do I hire a consultant, right? Where I have wanted a marketing consultant to help me with how do I help generate leads? How do I do the marketing in my business? That's not my expertise. I'm an organizational health consultant. I don't get that stuff that well. I've learned it over time, but I sit down with the marketing consultant, and the first thing they want to do is productize what I do, and they want me
Yes.
to come together with a package. And I'm like, no, 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 that's not my business. My business
That's
is to
your
come
business.
alongside of business owners and business leaders and executive teams and C-suite executives, and to help them to identify what's needed, to identify what the issues are, to bring the important principles to play, and to figure out how do we fix things. I can't
Yes.
do that in a productized way. I can't do that in a one size fits all way. I can't package that. That's not a package. That's
And
it.
more
That is a
important,
very designed reality for each individual client. But no, you need to make a package, otherwise we can't sell you. Good, you're fired. We're out.
right. And the
You're
more
not the
important
you're
thing
not the
is,
you're not the consultant for me because I'm not going to do your
absolutely.
business. I'm doing my business.
Oh, preaching to the choir here. And more importantly, it's not that we can't do it, because I could
Yeah,
totally package something up. I don't want to.
right, right,
I absolutely don't want to create a freaking package and then go peddle it like it's a vacuum to all of the different.
right.
It's a vacuum salesman here.
Yeah.
I have this great TriStar vacuum. That was 16 years old. But
I was going to say, what's a TriStar vacuum?
80s. It was
Okay.
better than the Dyson.
Ooh.
Dyson didn't exist, so it was. But the idea is the marketers that you're talking about really try to productize what we do. We don't have a product.
Nope.
We have a set of principles that we set down to help people make progress. Not perfection. It's not going to fix everything,
Nope.
but it's progress towards perfection, towards the dream that you had, towards the ideal you had. And it really is, when you think about it, and I can't think of a better example than that, because the marketers do that to me too. And it's like you have to do a dog and pony show, and then you have to sell a package at the end. And it's like, I don't have a package. I'm not going to have a package. Well, you have to have scarcity. You have to build in scarcity. All right,
Right.
how about this for scarcity? If you don't change, nothing changes, and you have the same business you had. That's my scarcity.
Yep.
Well, what about something urgency to get them to buy? If they don't need me, they don't need me.
Right. Right.
I don't need them to feel urgent through my manipulation.
Right.
I
Right.
want them to look at their business and to go, it is exactly the business I wanted.
Yeah.
Then we don't need to.
Right. And don't hire
Congratulations.
me.
I'd love to celebrate with you.
Right. Can I come see what you're doing so I can learn from it?
Absolutely. And in fact, there was a business in my town, a couple of, a mile or two from my house. And the guy said, you know what? We got a consultant and we were working on it, and we really love what we're doing here. And I was like, I would love to sit down and hear about what you guys have done.
Yep.
right? And we sat down, we had a meeting, and they shared what they were doing, and it was very, very similar to the organizational health that I I I do, and working on their vision and their values, and getting clear on how to actually continue to grow, and that was amazing. But a
Yeah.
lot of businesses aren't there, and so I don't want to bring a package in. I want to talk to them
Yep.
about what's not working, why they think it's not working, and understand from their point of view what's going on with their business so we can
Mhm.
assess what really needs to happen next.
Yep.
And if they need my help, they need my help. If they don't want my help, they don't want my help. And
Exactly.
I I wish them well, but
Yeah.
I'm not going to create urgency, fake urgency. I'm
Yep.
not going to create fake scarcity. There's only
Right.
room for one more client.
Oh gosh. Yeah.
Is it you? I don't need to do that. And that's
No.
what and the whole marketing world at the same time as the coaching world created this fake sales process
Yep.
that really has nothing to do with helping people.
Yeah.
It has to do with lining their pockets.
Yep. Absolutely. Well,
And
folks,
so,
you could probably tell we could go on and on about this topic for a long, long time. The two of us have a lot to say about what is good consulting and what is not good consulting. What does it look like to look at and hire a good consultant? And I hope this is helpful. If there's more you'd love to know about that, I'd love to just encourage you, reach out to us. We would love to even just help you with that. How do I hire a good consultant? We'd be more than happy to share with you about that and just be a resource for you in hiring. I don't care. You don't have to hire us. We'll help you hire a really good consultant in whatever sphere and space it is. Just reach out to us because that's why we're here. We love helping people. And so what
absolutely.
Terry does with Generator, what I do with People Smart Group, we help people. Sometimes we get paid for it. It's awesome. We love it. We love getting paid. Don't get me wrong. But that's what we're doing. We're here to help people. Our why is the impact we get to make on people's lives. Our why is not my bottom line. It's not my pocket. Yes, I have a family to support. Yes, Terry's got a family to support. But that is not our why. Our why is helping other people. And so reach out. We'd love to help. That's also why we do what we do with the Organizational Health Collective that you see up here, is we love helping other consultants, other
And we got
practitioners,
something coming up,
interns.
don't we? We
We
got something.
do. Good. Yeah. Way to go, Terry. We sure do. And one of the things that we have coming up for consultants, even internal practitioners, this is great training for you because while you may not think, hey, we sell like external consultants sell, you actually are constantly selling internally to all of the people who you're trying to say, hey, you need what I do. You need what I do. And so if you're in HR, you're an internal practitioner in leadership development, you're an internal practitioner, or you're a leader, owner, whatever within a business, this could be great for you. And so I'm going to put it up. We got a little video that shares about what we're doing, but we've got a training session coming up that is really saying, how do we actually prepare people and pull people in and help them know we're here to help you with high impact engagements. We want to make an impact and we want to help you make an impact in your own organization. And so that's what we're up to. And we've actually got a free membership trial for 7 days for people to just jump in and do the training session. And so you'll see that in this video as well. And so it's a cool deal. So come join us. Thanks, Terry. You rock.